In an airport, a plane is trying to take off while the police open fire on it. Inside the plane, Franklin knows that they're about to crash and sees his life flashing in front of his eyes. He's a tech blogger known as Remedy, and he writes about achieving optimal health. Sitting next to him is Sig, the owner of a pharmaceutical company that released a medicine knowing it was highly addictive and lethal, causing thousands of deaths. This all started 3 months ago. Franklin gets a job as a ticket taker at a special event because he's desperate to get an interview with Anton, a health and tech guru who has been working on finding a way to reach optimal health without medicine. Unfortunately, Franklin arrives late and causes a bad impression, so he doesn't get the full explanation of how he must scan people's tri-bands to check their tickets. When Franklin makes a mistake while scanning and his boss scolds him in a harsh way, his co-worker Jala comes in his defense and the two end up chatting. They really hit it off and Franklin asks Jala out, but instead of giving him her number, she sets up an alarm on his phone so he can come for her after he's done with the presentation. Afterward, Franklin rushes to the bathroom and meets with Andy, who has stolen and hacked a tri-band from his boss so Franklin can access the presentation because he couldn't afford the ticket. With this band, Franklin manages to go past the guards on the backstage door just in time to see Anton arrive with the mysterious assistant Ingram. Franklin tries hiding behind the curtains, but Anton finds him anyway and asks who and why. He seems to be talking to his assistant, and Franklin notices Anton has a fancy ring on his finger. Anton also guesses that Franklin's tri-band isn't his, but he tells him to stay and enjoy the show. Then Anton goes to the stage to be received by a very enthusiastic crowd except for Renee and Calvert, who look very serious and out of place. Anton begins the presentation by talking about the tri-band, which is his invention. It's a bracelet that people wear on their wrists and monitors their physiology to then decode their DNA and make a health plan unique to each user. It also sends alerts with reminders on when and what to eat and exercise. However, Anton has a big announcement today. He's made the tri-band 5, which is able to make the user naturally enjoy doing things that are good for health without the need of reminders. It should also remove the need for medicine, including the stuff used for diabetes, high blood pressure, and even addiction. Meanwhile, at the backstage door, one of the guards knocks the other out with a taser and then rushes toward the stage, bumping into Franklin in the process. The guard fires his gun in the air and says Anton's company is controlling everyone, but at that moment Franklin hits him with a wheeled table and gives the other guards the opportunity to arrest the guy. Renee and Calvert aren't happy with this turn of events, but Anton is grateful for Franklin's help and tells him he'll have the interview later. Before leaving, Anton tells Franklin to check his hand, which is bleeding. Afterward, Franklin gets his hand bandaged and the head of security takes his tri-band as part of the evidence. The guy leaves and Franklin suddenly notices Anton's ring on the ground, so he picks it up as his phone rings with Jala's alarm. Franklin takes a closer look at the ring and when he touches the stone, he suddenly finds himself repeating the last moment. The head of security says the same words, Jala's alarm goes off, and Franklin finds the ring again. Scared and nervous, Franklin covers the ring with his bandage before leaving for the restaurant. While waiting for Jala, he looks at the ring again and when the waitress checks on him, she touches the ring and the moment resets again. Franklin checks the time on his phone to confirm that the ring turns back time and tries to use it again, but the stone has gone white and needs time to recharge. When the waitress comes by again, he keeps the ring away from her. Then he does another test using his phone's stopwatch and discovers the ring can go back for exactly 57 seconds. At that moment Jala arrives and they decide to go somewhere nice. They chat and bond during their date, and Franklin learns Jala is an artist. In return, he tells her about his work writing articles on how technology affects health. Some of them even got published in a newspaper. Suddenly Jala kisses Franklin and they end up going to his messy apartment. When they start getting frisky, Jala notices a woman's purse in his closet and thinks he has a girlfriend, so she wants to leave. Franklin immediately rewinds time and closes the closet before Jala can see the purse. However, she next sees the picture of a woman and tries to leave again. Using the ring, Franklin resets the moment and hides both the purse and the picture before bringing Jala to his bed. Now that things are heating up, every time Jala makes a naughty request, Franklin goes back and does the thing before she even asks so he can look like an amazing lover. The next morning, Renee and Calvert go to see their boss, who turns out to be Sig. He wonders if the attack had been just a publicity stunt and orders Calvert to follow Franklin for clues. Sig also asks Renee to dig up information about the new tri-band and find a way to prove it isn't real because if it stops people from taking medicine, he won't make money anymore. Meanwhile, Franklin and Jala are having breakfast together when suddenly Franklin's car gets towed while Calvert watches in secret. Franklin tries using the ring to stop it, but he isn't fast enough, and now he has to get enough money to get his car back. After seeing an ad on TV, Franklin gets an idea. He visits a casino and starts using his ring to win every time. Soon he's making lots of money and getting the attention of a crowd, including Calvert, who finds it very suspicious. Once he's got enough money, Franklin gets a beautiful new car and decides he can keep making even more cash. He returns to the casino and wins some more money, but when he tries to leave, he's attacked by the casino staff. Franklin immediately rewinds time and tries to sneak around, even deciding to leave the money behind, but the guys always follow him and beat him up in the parking lot. They think that Franklin is cheating and try to make him confess, but at that moment Calvert arrives and calls them out, so the employees let Franklin go after telling him to never come back. Afterward, Calvert invites Franklin to lunch and tries to make him confess how he did it, but Franklin says he's just lucky. Next, Calvert invites him to meet Sig, but Franklin turns him down because knows Sig is behind that medicine that has been killing thousands of people. Calvert decides to give him his card anyway. Sometime later, Jala visits Franklin and is surprised to see he's bought new furniture to make his apartment look much nicer. When she uses Franklin's computer, she discovers a wallpaper of a woman, and Franklin finally explains himself. That's his twin sister, who died of odd 4 years ago. She had been in a car crash and was given Sig's medicine, which made her an addict. Franklin sells serious articles to the newspaper with his real name, but on his blog, he uses the nickname Remedy to talk against evil companies like Sig's. Jala calls him heroic and promises to keep his secret, so Franklin reveals he's bought a bunch of painting supplies for her. The couple is about to go for a ride in the new car when Franklin gets a call from Anton, saying he's ready for the interview. In fact, Ingram is already there to pick him up. When Franklin makes it to the office, Anton gives him 2 tri-bands for him and Jala. Then they talk about Anton's invention, and he explains he hopes to get rid of medicine entirely. The idea isn't only to prevent illnesses but accidents as well, and Anton plans to use a special substance containing quantum particles to achieve it. He ends the interview by telling Franklin to follow his sense of justice. Later in the evening, Franklin wonders if he should accept the meeting with Sig to try to make him admit his crime, and Jala tells him to go for it. The next day, Calvert introduces Sig to Franklin, who immediately mentions his sister and punches Sig in the face. Then he rewinds time and pretends to respect Sig while they chat about his work. Calvert has told Sig about Franklin's luck in the casino, so he wants to make a bet. If Franklin can guess what will happen after he whistles, he'll pay him $100,000 for every article he writes praising his company. If he fails, then he'll write 5 articles for half his current rate. Franklin accepts and guesses a dog will come, but when Sig whistles, one of his models comes to kiss him and give him a massage. However, Franklin rewinds time and guesses correctly, so now he's got a new job. After Franklin leaves, Sig mentions Anton must be behind this, so he wants to keep Franklin close. In the evening, Franklin meets with Jala, who comments this job would be selling out. However, Franklin explains he just wants to earn Sig's trust to access his files and expose the company. He promises to use the money for good things like improving their lives and even dares to bring out his sister's ring to propose to Jala, who quickly says yes. The next day, Franklin offers Sig to plan a big event-style piece to rebrand the company in a few months as a sneaky way to avoid having to write a bunch of praising articles. Sig likes the idea and Franklin is given his own office in the house. When he's left alone, one of the models tries to hit on him, but Franklin immediately turns her down saying he's taken. This frustrates Sig, who is spying on Franklin while hoping to get blackmail material. He tells Renee and Calvert to make a new plan to discover how Franklin does his trick. Soon Franklin and Jala move to a beautiful house to start a new life. Sig invites them on a trip to Miami in his private plane and makes them leave the tri-bands behind under the excuse of being company policy, but he actually thinks Anton helps Franklin do the trick through it. The group makes it to a casino and Franklin starts winning again using the ring, but neither Sig nor security can detect any foul play. Renee befriends Jala to try to get information out of her, but Jala knows nothing. Later, while Franklin and Jala are dancing, Franklin is shocked to discover Ingram watching them, so he decides to hide the ring in his pocket. Moments later, the group is sharing some drinks when suddenly a man approaches them and opens fire to make Sig pay for the deaths he caused. Jala ends up shot as well, so Franklin grabs his ring and immediately rewinds time. When the man approaches them again, Franklin stops him with a bottle to the head. When they return home, Franklin discovers that news outlets are calling him a hero, and Jala agrees. She also reminds him of her upcoming art exhibit, and Franklin promises he'll be there. Suddenly the new cast reveals the identity of the attacker and Franklin realizes he knew him. The shooter's wife used to work for Sig and one day she just showed up dead in the office, but there was no media coverage about it. The guy appears on the screen saying they should investigate the company because they're blackmailing everyone. The next day, Franklin asks Renee for the dead woman's file, claiming he'll have to clean that story too. Renee promises to look into it, but then she rushes to warn Sig. Calvert also thinks Franklin is dangerous because he thinks both attacks were set up to make him look good. With a plan in mind, Sig brings the file to Franklin, who discovers it's empty. Sig blames it on Renee's incompetence and offers Franklin another gift for helping him discover all these problems in his company. Moments later, the duo is at a bar out of town. Sig shares some shots and gifts Franklin his car, then he takes him upstairs where a bunch of women are waiting. Franklin tries to say no, but at that moment he realizes his drink has been spiked and he can't defend himself. The women drag him in for some fun and Sig records the whole deal. By the time Franklin wakes up, it's the middle of the night. He rushes back home in the new car and discovers Anton is there, who apparently bought all of Jala's art. Anton teases Franklin for working for Sig and leaves, so now Jala can snap at Franklin for missing her event and coming back smelling of alcohol. The two begin arguing over the morals of Franklin's job, And when Franklin points out she's enjoying the money he's making, she tries to leave. Franklin goes after her, and in the struggle they accidentally fall into the pool, so he quickly rewinds time to fix it. When they reappear inside the house, Jala can tell that something weird has happened, and Franklin realizes that people touching him when it happens will also remember the rewind. Franklin explains how it works, and Jala realizes he used the ring on her too. That's what he always knew what to say or do with her. Feeling like their relationship is a lie, Jala leaves, so Franklin decides it's time to put an end to this. The next day, Franklin goes to see Renee with a gun to demand the combination of her safe. She immediately screams for help, so Franklin rewinds and tries again, only to accidentally touch an object on her desk that hurts him and causes him to accidentally shoot her. After another rewind, he covers her mouth and makes her write the combination down, so he resets again and tries the numbers on the safe, only to discover it was a fake number. Frustrated, Franklin does another rewind and puts a cushion on Renee's lap to shoot her leg and make her give him the real combination. With yet another reset, he tries the number and it works, so he rewinds again, and this time he just tells Renee that he'll be working in his office all afternoon. Afterward, Franklin waits for Renee to leave and opens the safe to steal all the evidence. Then Franklin goes home and asks Andy to help him post all the evidence of Sig's crimes during an important basketball game, but Andy is hesitant because he may lose his job. However, Franklin sends a bunch of money to his account and Andy instantly accepts. The next day, Franklin gets ready to leave town while he keeps calling Jala to no avail. When the game finally starts, Andy plays the presentation Franklin made on the big screens, but it's also reaching all news outlets. The video shows security footage of Calvert killing the shooter's wife and how she was killed because she knew the truth about Sig's medicine. While the world sees all this, Franklin tries to leave his house, but he's knocked out before he can get in the car. Moments later, Franklin wakes up in an airport, where the guards drag him toward the private plane while Sig orders him to tell the world his video was fake. Franklin refuses to cooperate, but then Sig reveals he's kidnapped Jala too. As they're pushed together, Jala tells him she's proud of what he did, and Franklin asks her to use the ring. Jala touches the stone and steps on the guard's foot to escape, running toward the now arriving police cars. Franklin is pushed into the plane and it takes off, flying above the police who are opening fire on them. A bullet causes the engine to start failing and Calvert wants to land, but Sig tells him to keep going. Franklin wonders what to do with the ring and Sig suddenly touches him, causing time to rewind. When Sig realizes what the ring can do, he tries resetting a few times to stop the plane from crashing, but 57 seconds isn't enough to prevent the bullet from hitting the engine. Franklin smiles, not caring about what happens if it means Sig dies. A desperate Sig runs to Calvert to make him turn back, but it's too late and the plane crashes. Seconds later, the police and Jala arrive at the crash site. Renee, Calvert, and Franklin have managed to survive the accident, but right after they move away, the plane explodes with Sig inside. Soon Anton also shows up with his assistant and reveals that Ingram let Franklin have the ring on purpose because he was the perfect candidate to test it. It turns out the ring is made of the quantum crystals Anton discovered, and now he wants Franklin to work for him. However, Franklin refuses, saying the power of the ring is as addictive as Sig's medicine and therefore dangerous. Anton wants the ring back then, but Franklin throws it on the ground and destroys it. This causes Ingram to do some calculations, and Anton shockingly says that the offer still stands because he needs someone that can say no to him. Franklin says no again and he gives Anton back the tri-bands, then he leaves with Jala to build a life together without needing this weird technology. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you can watch more videos like this. Thanks for watching.